Please rise for the invocation by Reverend J. Robinson, Viewmont Baptist Church.
Thank you for the privilege of the opportunity to do this. Would you bow with me for a word of prayer? Dear God, thank you for the gift of this day. We recognize that each and every day of life is a gift that you share with us. I pray, Lord, that we've been good stewards of it. Thank you, God, for the privilege of being able to be in community together. We recognize, Lord, that we're so much better together than we ever could be apart. But at the same time, God, we recognize that community brings along with it challenges because we don't always agree. We don't always see things the same way. So, Lord, we pray for wisdom for this council as they act in the good for all of us. We pray and thank you, Lord, for their sacrificial leadership. We thank you, Lord, for police officers and firefighters who step into harm's way for us over and over again. We ask you, God, to watch over us in all that we do. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So we're pleased to have with us representatives of our lobbying firm in Washington, and we're going to have a presentation from Michael Willis of Marlowe and Company, with whom Brad Lale and Andrea Surratt and I spent a pleasant day. Well, it was in Washington, but it was a nice day with them a couple of weeks ago. Michael?
Excuse me. We're very glad to be with you this morning. It's always nice to get to the real world and out of D.C. So anytime we can do that, we'll do it. We want to come today. We haven't been before the council in a while, but we wanted to give you an update on what's going on in Washington. As you've seen on the news, it's a chaotic place for the most part, but that's pretty much what's going on in the news. Behind the scenes, a lot of things are going on that have always gone on. The government's still functioning. Projects are still being funded, and things are taking place as they need to. And so today, what we wanted to let you know is, as many of you know already, you have a delegation that came to D.C. recently, did very well in presenting the city's case before Congress, and did very well in really laying out the plans and the future and the vision of the city. And on that, we're building with that to look at federal opportunities now that are with the federal agencies. A couple of years ago, Congress decided to take itself out of the funding game and turned a lot of things over to the administration. So now, your Marlowe and Company team work with 1,100 different agencies, sub-agencies, and departments on a daily basis to determine what funding opportunities they are providing to local governments, such as yourself. And so that we can find things that match your needs and we can bring them to you. We have 6 people on our staff that are dedicated to working for the City of Hickory and finding things that match what you have in mind and what you have for your future. And tonight with me I have, well, before I do that, I do want to say you guys have a great staff. We've been touring the city today and have got to see a lot of things that are going on here. It's a wonderful city, a lot of potential. And what we need here and what we're hoping to team with you on are some economic development initiatives. And what we know is with economic development comes jobs, of course, and then also population. And that those are very big, important things to the city. And so we're very thankful to be teamed with you. And we're very proud of the team that we have in Washington and the opportunity that we can work with you.
My name is Sarah Hansen. I work with Michael at Marlowe & Company. We're looking at a couple specific things within the Economic Development Agency that may be good options in terms of grant programs to help the city bring in new industry and new businesses. We're also working with EDA to hopefully bring in some officials from the agency to tour the city within the next 2 to 6 months. So we're working with them and Andrea as well and setting that up. And those are the big issues we're hoping to accomplish for you right now.
And one of the things that will be coming very soon is your congressional delegation, the different members will be visiting Hickory to take a tour of the city to kind of see the needs as well so that they can participate with us in working with the federal agencies to make sure that for all those tax dollars you're sending to Washington that some are making it back here to you guys. If there's any questions, we can answer for anybody. If not, we thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, folks.
Appreciate it.
Well, I was very pleased to see the good working relationship these folks have with our representatives and senators and their staffs. And it's like one of our representatives said, it's good to have boots on the ground right there in Washington while we are trying to govern Hickory with assistance from Washington. But we're a long ways and out of sight, out of mind. It's good to have them there. Is this what I'm supposed to do? Like that? Okay. Now that we're videotaping over here, I've been told I need to do some things differently. So I'm very pleased to honor tonight some outstanding citizens of our community. The Carolina Moonlighters Barbershop Harmony Group. If you all will come forward, please. Oh, you going to stay over there? Oh, you're going to stay over, they're going to stay over there. They're smarter than the rest of us. I'm going to read this proclamation, and then they're going to give us a few minutes, a couple of renderings of barbershop harmony pieces that I think we'll all enjoy. Whereas the Barbershop Harmony Society, also known as the Society for the Preservation and Encouragement of Barbershop Quartet Singing in America, was founded in April 11th, 1938. Whereas the Society celebrated the 75th anniversary, April 11th, 2013. Whereas the Hickory chapter of the Barbershop Harmony Society, known as the Carolina Moonlighters, was chartered February the 18th, 1975. Whereas the Carolina Moonlighters Chorus and its quartets have entertained audience in the Hickory area for 38 years by staging an annual show and by performing for conventions in nursing homes, churches, retirement homes, at the malls, at Crawdad games, in restaurants, and numerous other locations in our community. Whereas the Hickory chapter has represented the city in various competitions of the Dixie and Carolinas districts of the Barbershop Harmony Society. Whereas the Hickory chapter has promoted musical participation and excellence in young men by sponsoring young men to obtain vocal training at society, district, and chapter-sponsored harmony camps. Now, therefore, on behalf of Hickory City Council, I proclaim May the 19th through May 25th, 2013 as Barbershop Harmony Week in the City of Hickory. Let's hear it.
Hi, I'm Bill Jones. I sing with the Moonlighters and also do publicity. I probably do the publicity so they don't have to hear me sing as much. We want to thank Mayor Wright and the council for the proclamation. It helps us with our publicity, and now I see it gives us a handsome wall hanging. The Moonlighters have been present for about 38 years. We'd like to keep going for another 38 at least. To that end, we're always looking for new members, so if any of you are male and can sing Happy Birthday or like to sing in the shower, we encourage you to come to one of our rehearsals every Thursday at 7 p.m. in the Arts Center. Also, this Saturday, we're putting on a show at the Arts Center Auditorium, 7 p.m. The admission is free, so the price is right. I'd like to introduce our quartet for the evening. Don Lang is singing baritone, Bob Johns, our current president, on bass, Ed Walk is singing lead, and Isaac Stewart is singing tenor. So they call themselves the Annex, but after you hear them, I think you'll call them a cappella well-crafted.
skies. For amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed His grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride, from every mountainside, let freedom ring, let freedom ring. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans wide with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. America, my home.
The mayor had asked for something patriotic, and he also asked for a show tune that might actually be sung on the show on Saturday night. That's not that song.
That was actually two songs, I think.
What a day this has been, what a rare mood I'm in. Why, it's almost like being in love, in love. There's a smile on my face for the whole human race. Why, it's almost like being in love, in love. All the music of life seems to be true, like a bell that is ringing for me, and for me. And from the way that I feel when that bell starts to peal, I could swear I was falling, I could swear I was falling. It's almost like being in love, in love. All the music of life seems to be true, like a bell that is ringing for me, and from the way that I feel when that bell starts to peal, I could swear I was falling, I could swear I was falling. It's almost like being in love, in love. It's almost like being in love, in love, in love.
Dr. Jones, can we get you to do a solo now?
The government business is ugly enough as it is.
I think this may be a first for us.
It's pretty good.
We have two people requesting to speak, and as usual, we ask that comments be held to 3 minutes. We ask that we be respectful of each other, no cheering, no jeering. And with that, I'll first call on Dr. Glenn Pinkney.
Good evening, Mayor and Council and other members. I come before you representing an organization by the name of Christians Aligned for Actions and Principles. We are an organization that is non-political nor religious, but we are an organization about disseminating information. We've been hosting a couple of workshops, one at the Shuford Y. Sparkman Building, and the other one last month over at the Penn Station. And our workshops and seminars are regarding information, particularly as it relates to the foundation of our country, the values of our country, and helping to preserve those values. Our information is educational. We provide books, DVDs, articles, that kind of information. And we have public speakers. As a matter of fact, one of our speakers has been most notably Dr. C.L. Gray, who is a renowned author and speaker and a physician here in Hickory. And I said all of that to say this. If I may, I'd like to give each one of you one of these cards. We are in the process of making plans to bring Dr. Ben Carson to Hickory, North Carolina on August the 22nd, along with Dr. Mark Harris and Rear Admiral Chaplain, I should say, Barry Black. And I've got some more, Jim, I'll get them for you. But I wanted to make the city aware of this event. We'll be hosting this event at the Metro Community Center. I had a wonderful chat with the director over there, B.B. Leach, and we were able to get that issue resolved. So this is an event that we're bringing, and as you can see, the theme of our event is the values of education. As most of you probably are aware, I also work over at CVCC, and I see firsthand how uneducated our high school graduates are when they come over to CVCC and having to get into remedial courses just to handle math and English. And so we know that there's a definite need. And so again, I wanted to make the city aware of this, but certainly want to make you all aware of this, and certainly would like to ask for your prayers and your support. Thank you very much. I suppose questions? Should I wait for questions? Okay, good. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Larry Pope.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council, Mr. Berry, Mr. Crone. I would ask City Council, City Attorney, and City Manager for reasonable accommodations under Title II of the Americans with Disabilities Act, Section 504. I have presented a letter that I would like to ask the City Clerk, Debbie, to read to City Council so that it can be placed verbally into the record, and then she has the hard copy that can be kept and placed on file. If you would, Debbie, please.
Dear Mr. Berry, under the North Carolina Public Records Law, General Statute 132-1, I am requesting an opportunity to inspect or obtain copies of the following public records from the custodian of these records. Updated conflict of interest statements. Since these are required to be filed yearly on July 1st, I expect these copies to be available in 5 business days. If there are any fees for searching or copying these records, please inform me if the cost will exceed $5. However, I would like to request a waiver of all fees in that the disclosure of the requested information is in the public interest and will contribute significantly to the public's understanding of the actual cost of the sales project. This information is not being sought for commercial purposes. The law requires that you respond to and fulfill this request as promptly as possible. If you expect a significant delay in responding to and fulfilling this request, please contact me with information about when I might expect copies or the ability to inspect the requested records. If you deny any or all of this request, please cite each specific exemption you feel justifies the refusal to release the information and notify me of the appeal procedures available to me under the law. Thank you for complying with this request. Sincerely, Larry Pope.
Thank you, Debbie. I would just like to say to council in closing that I requested this information before. I received information that I gave to the city, $41, for what was supposed to be the total packet of information. What I found at that point in time after going through the information was that it was not current. It dated back to 2008, and under the law, you must, as city council members and others in the city staff, are supposed to give conflicts of interest statements yearly by July 1, the last day of June. That has not been done, and that's why I am back requesting that it be updated and brought up to date. Thank you so much.
I'd like to clarify, if I may, that, Mr. Pope, you can go ahead and be seated. I'd like to clarify that each council member, to my knowledge, has submitted an update. In many cases, it has been a verbal update that says no change. In other cases, we submitted updates that included changes marked through and the year of change dated. So I would disagree that no updates have been submitted during that time.
And if, I might add, if we're going to do this in 5 days, mine will change as of July 1st this year. So, but if he's going to get it within 5 days, it's going to be for last year.
Do you have a motion to approve the minutes?
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Fox, second by Mr. Seaver. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. It's unanimous. All members are present. Motion to reaffirm and ratify on second reading.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Patton, second by Mr. Seaver. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. That motion is carried. Items to be removed from the consent agenda. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Motion by Mrs. Fox, second by Mrs. Patton. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. That motion is carried. Mr. Berry.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First new item of business this evening is the City Manager's fiscal year 2013-14 recommended budget. And prior to opening the public hearing, I'll go through a presentation that outlines my recommended budget. You all recall 2 weeks ago, Mr. Wood and myself did a extensive presentation of the budget to you all, and of course it was released to the public both at the libraries, at the clerk's office, as well as on the city's website. And I won't spend as much time with it as we did 2 weeks ago, but I will go through a summary of our budget. It is, as required by statute, balanced at $90.3 million. That is divided between the city's various funds. The two largest funds being your general fund, which is the general operations of the city, police, fire, etc., that most people think of as city services. The second fund that's of substance in terms of the dollars expended is your utility fund, which in layman's terms is the water and sewer system that the City of Hickory operates, not just for the city, but also for a number of, we serve a number of neighboring municipalities in a wholesale capacity, and some other neighboring counties as well. The recommended budget is actually a $4.4 million reduction from the current year, which is 4.73%. That reduction does not reflect a decrease in services, but is necessitated from an accounting standpoint. In the current fiscal year, City Council appropriated a significant amount of your fund balance to be put into the capital reserve account to fund the capital needs of the city for the next several years. That appropriation is not recommended in the current year, so you have a one-time expenditure for capital that reduces your overall budget by 4.73%. I am recommending that you maintain the property tax rate at $50, or excuse me, 50 cents per $100 of value.
Big difference.
That would have shocked everybody. Actually, it's against the law. That's above your actual statutory limit of the tax rate. So here's the funds of the city. Again, I mentioned the general fund, $45 million, going down $1.3 million. That's that capital, 3.7%. Again, the water and sewer fund, which is about half the size of your general fund, that's actually increasing a little bit. We have requested, and as far as I know so far, our neighboring communities that we sell water to have agreed to the 3% rate increase, and I'll touch on that again in a minute. Your sludge compost fund, that's kind of a sister fund of the water and sewer fund. Stormwater, a relatively minor fund, but has to be accounted for separately. Your transportation fund, actually seeing a reduction. Again, this is driven by capital. And then your solid waste fund, which I'll touch on in a minute, which is funded both by general tax dollars as well as the monthly bills that residents and businesses pay to have their trash collected. So again, overall, these funds, a $76.7 million budget for 13-14. Then you got your internal service funds, and this is where you're really just moving money within the city. If you talk about the real expenditures, it's $76.7 million. These are accounting requirements where you take your capital reserve, your fleet maintenance, and your insurance fund, and you have to, in effect, the general fund and the utility funds pay these funds to provide those services, if you will, to the departments. So again, overall, and you can see the big change is there in that capital reserve that I mentioned at the beginning. So overall, down 4.73%, your $90.3 million budget. Just kind of touch on quickly the revenue highlights. We went through in a lot of detail the uncertainty of tax reform, and Mr. Wood documented to you all the different revenues that are potentially on the chopping block from the General Assembly, and they add up to $3.8 million as a potential revenue loss. We're optimistic. Well, maybe optimistic's too optimistic of a term. We hope that the language we're hearing out of Raleigh about holding the cities harmless will come to fruition, as the state's wrestling, I believe, between three different options of tax reform. Property tax base increased just slightly, 3.8%. That's actually a positive in that for 2 years we've lost property tax base. Property tax revenue, though, overall is slightly below where we were in 07-08. That's kind of our peak year that we benchmark against before we went into the recession. And just as an FYI, 1 penny on the property tax rate generates $450,000. Projecting 2% increase in sales tax. We're consistently conservative about how we project sales tax, and actually don't project to collect more than we already collected in the previous year. Hold harmless revenue is being discussed literally right now in Raleigh in both of the budget, the House and the Senate budget discussions. Not to go into extensive detail about what that is, but It's funds that we receive from the state of North Carolina to hold us harmless for reductions that they made in the property tax base more than 10 years ago. And Hickory, because our big manufacturing center, has a large dollar amount in terms of $255,000. We in Lenore are two of the bigger cities that rely on that revenue source. I am recommending that you increase your solid waste fee by $1 a month from $14 to $15 per month. I showed on a previous slide that the solid waste fund is accounted for separately. That's generally accepted accounting principles or governmentally accepted accounting principles. Want you to treat those activities as if they are a business. Of course, it's purely a policy decision as to whether or not you fund those with user fees, so what people are paying to have their trash collected versus property tax. But your policy for the last several years has been to gradually move that to more and more of a self-sufficient fund where the users actually pay for the cost of the service. Water and sewer rates, already mentioned, increasing 3%, and most of the other fees increasing 1.7%, which is consistent with the CPI. Kind of a big hit that we've been gradually absorbing in the budget, the SAFER grant, which we received 5 years ago to add a much-needed ladder company. 12 firefighters that went with that. A federal grant that we were able to secure has now rolled off. It rolled off gradually every year until this past year, 2013-14. We will absorb the full amount, and that's $500,000, and that will be an ongoing expenditure. Several years ago, when fuel prices spiked, you took a very prudent action to set aside over $1 million to fund fuel spikes. We are relying on that to the tune of $150,000. We've relied on it the last several years, and I believe we're about down to $300,000 that's available in that account. Duke Energy is in the process, and in fact the mayor will be testifying on behalf of the League of Municipalities in the City of Hickory in their rate case. They are asking for an almost 10% increase in their rates. You light this city, obviously, and pay Duke Power almost $800,000 a year to light the streets, and the 10% increase will equate to $80,000. I'm really proud of the fact that Mr. Wood and the departments have done such a great job really during the whole course of the recession of not letting our rolling stock and our temporary capital, as I like to call it, degrade. A lot of times what happens is a city will take a shortcut and they'll say, well, we just won't buy as many police cars, or we won't buy as many utility vehicles, we'll put that off. Well, that comes back to haunt you. At some point in time, you're going to have to replace 2 or 3 times your normal annual replacement schedule. We've been very disciplined and give, again, Mr. Wood and the departments great credit for staying on top of that. So you have not kicked the can down the road there. You're in good shape. Boards and commissions and external appropriations are recommended to stay at their existing level. From a staffing standpoint, I am recommending eliminating 4 vacant full-time positions in the general fund and adding a position at the FBO, fixed-based operation at the airport. Also kind of in that HR category, the state of North Carolina is requiring all the local governments in the state to ante up a one-time contribution to the state's unemployment fund. You all know they borrowed money from the federal government. Now they have to pay it back, and they have tapped all of us. And for Hickory, it's $150,000, and we're planning to take that from contingency. So we budget a pretty healthy amount in contingency every year. It's going to take a $150,000 hit right off the bat. We know that.
Is that all governmental bodies, not just municipal? Is that county commissions?
Cities and counties. I'm not sure how the states handle it within their own agencies. But yeah, the cities and the counties.
And business is going to bear a significant share of that too.
Yeah. So for our employees, we're recommending a merit increase that will average between 1.5 and 2% based on their evaluation of their performance. And then the rest of the benefit package for our city employees is remaining the same. And we will continue to have a targeted hiring freeze. We've had that since the recession. What it really is it's an opportunity as people leave employment with the city for us to do a review We have had some opportunities to consolidate positions, to move positions around. In some ways, the elimination of the 4 positions that I mentioned a minute ago is a result of the fact that as we have turnover, we take a constant look at it and see if there's better ways to provide service that's more cost effective. We will continue to do that. One of the things I'm really proud about in this budget, you saw that we're not going to see a lot of revenue growth next year, was the fact that we're still able to enhance the city. And we've really been able to do that over the last couple of years through partnerships. And we're going to continue that. Hickory Community Theater came to you all last year, and you entered into a partnership with them to help renovate the community theater, which is the old City Hall, which of course you own. And so funds are appropriated to continue that partnership, as well as you were asked by the Hickory Women's Club to provide some renovations, is a little bit of a strong word, but some updates to the Shuford House, and continue that partnership with the Salt Block as well, and the Science Center, all of the Art Museum, all the great amenities there. We'll continue that partnership. And then 2 more we're going to add to that are really significant steps forward. And you heard me mention this 2 weeks ago, and we're within probably a month or so of the announcement, as the family that we're working with has been interviewing architects and is refining their plan for the contribution that they want to make to the city. It's going to be exciting, and it's going to dovetail in with other initiatives that the city is working on. Great partnership. And then lighting the Henry Fork Soccer Complex, I want to really compliment Mr. Wood. He kind of brokered this, he and Mr. McLeod really brokered this great partnership with CVYSA, Catawba Valley Youth Soccer Association, who has an agreement with the city to use the Henry Fork Complex. And in partnership with them, they're going to fund a significant percentage of the upgrade to the lighting, or the putting in the lighting out there. Not only is that going to provide more opportunities for our own children, both in soccer and lacrosse and other field sports, but it's going to also be a marquee venue, really in all of Western North Carolina, for travel teams, which CVYSA are travel teams, to come to Hickory and have tournaments. And that has a nice impact on our local economy as they stay here overnight and eat in local restaurants. I have daughters who play on a travel volleyball team, and I feel it in my pocketbook every weekend they leave. So we're excited to have them coming here. And then we've got another good partnership with Hickory Baseball to upgrade LP France Stadium, and the budget considers about $1 million in partnership with them to upgrade the stadium, which is just over 20 years old. So that's, again, the highlights. We went through it in a lot more detail 2 weeks ago, but I'll be glad to field any questions or comments that you all may have. And of course, departmental staff as well as Mr. Wood are here to answer any questions if you need it.
I think I may have misheard you or something on the bullet number 2 on revenue. You said tax base had grown by 3.8%. Is
0.38. Thank you, Mr. Seaver.
3.8% would be good to have.
Yes, 3.8%. It'd be a very different budget.
That was a good old day.
Thank you.
You contrasted previous year against the proposed budget, and the solid waste fund has gone down. Yet we're increasing the fee by $1. What?
Capital, same thing.
Okay.
It was capital. We bought 2 trash trucks?
Yeah, I think there was
3. So it's just the ups and downs of your capital expenditure.
And then are we not getting rollout bins? Is that in this year? Or?
No, that is still a year away.
Okay.
Appreciate you raising that. We partner with a private partner. I keep wanting to call them GDS. They're now Republic Waste and have been for years. But we actually partner with them to collect the recyclables. They are in the process of completely changing their materials recycling facility. The MRF is what they call it. And yes, we will go from the bins that you have now, the blue bins, to actual rollouts, and they'll have a truck that goes by that picks them up
and dumps them, and it'll be sorted at the MRF versus sorted at the curb. So that'll also provide us the opportunity to recycle more products in terms of what you can put in there, different types of plastic and cardboard, etc. Plus, you can just do more conveniently because you're not limited by that small bin. Yeah, thank you for mentioning that. But that's still a year out.
What are the? I'm interested in that as well. What are the steps to get there? I mean, are we going to have to make some decisions as it relates to frequency of collection, any rate issues, and then from a financial perspective, are we going to see decreases perhaps in solid waste? Because I mean, decreases in solid waste as a result of more materials being recycled.
Yeah, potentially. We're not at the point of getting into all of the nitty-gritty to figure that out yet, but those certainly are decisions that will need to be made about, of course, the cost of the rollout itself, the frequency of collection, even some conversation about who does the collecting. So yeah, there's a whole host of issues that wrap up in that decision, but that is not for this current year, but for the next, sorry, not for this fiscal year, but for the next fiscal year, 2014-15. You could open the public hearing, Mr. Mayor.
I'd like to make sure that those who have not followed this process understand that we have been engaged in this process of developing the budget now for 3 or 4 months, and so this is the culmination of that, and it seems like it goes through council pretty fast, but let me assure you it has not gone very fast. It's been like making sausage or whatever, and we've had a great time doing it. With that, we're going to have our public hearing. I'd like to remind you that our format for that is we have 15 minutes allotted for those who want to speak against the proposal, and then 15 minutes for those who want to speak for the proposal. Then we have 5 minutes of rebuttal and 5 minutes of rebuttal. We have no control over how many people want to speak, so we ask that everyone be considerate of others and allot your time accordingly. Again, respectful, please. No cheering, no jeering. And with that, I'll declare the public hearing open and ask if there's anyone who would like to speak against this budget. Is there anyone who would like to speak for this budget?
Mr. Mayor, Council, Cliff Moon, 2925 8th Street Court Northeast. First of all, I'd just like to very briefly commend you on what I think is a fairly fiscally responsible budget. And I wanted to make a comment. I've been thinking about this a lot since the presentation 2 weeks ago. And I know in today's presentation there's nothing about the Inspiring Spaces initiatives, of course, because we're not there yet. What I'd like to say is as a citizen, I'm not representing any group here, but as a citizen who lives in the Beaumont Falling Creek area, that as I look at the proposals of moving forward and fixing and moving this city forward in terms of its future, and the considerations for a variety. Some of those Inspiring Spaces projects I think are great. Some I'm not so sure about. Others are, questionable, of course, and what you do. But they're part of the decision-making process that all of you have to go through. But I want to stand here tonight, and I'm not sure this is going to be very popular with anybody in Hickory but me, but to tell you that you mentioned, Mr. Berry, 2 weeks ago, that the average increase in property tax to do a number of those projects was somewhere in the neighborhood of a little over $100 in a year. And that's how I'm remembering that, if I'm incorrect. And I just want to say to this council, as a personal citizen, that I'd be more than willing to pay that $100 or more a year to see some of these projects, because I believe that some of these projects will indeed create a better city, a more welcoming city, a city that will bring, and by that I mean to business and entrepreneurship and a number of things, and lifestyle in this city, having been a part of that process. But lastly, I'd like to also ask you, please, to, as you consider those things, please remember those middle and lower income property owners who that would be a big burden on them in some ways. And if there's any ways that we can work that in a ways, and I'm not sure of the answer to that, alleviating how that works, but as we move forward, it would be a great thing to me. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
I would just like to say that I think all of us up here share that concern about the burden, particularly on lower and middle income people. To my knowledge, there's no way to deal with that in the property tax arena, but that's, at least in my case, my opinion was the 1% prepared food tax would be an alternative that would hit hardest at the people with the more disposable income, would not be burdensome even to them, and so I kind of like the 1% prepared food tax, but we just may not ever get that. But I would tell you, well, I'll talk about that under general comments later. Is there anyone else who would like to speak for the budget? With that, I'll declare the public hearing closed and ask for motion or discussion.
Mayor, I move approval of the budget.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Seaver, second by Mrs. Fox.
Ms. Patton.
Mrs. Patton. Any discussion?
Yes, I have some comments I'd like to make. I've given this a lot of thought, and I am truly sensitive to middle class and lower income folks. I have also been on this council for 19 years, and I'm going to give an example, and some of you have heard this example. When I chaired the First Appearance Commission, I sat in a seminar, an all-day seminar, and I heard the Public Works Director of Greenville, South Carolina, lay out the plan for downtown Greenville. And folks, I've been talking for 25 years while Greenville's been doing. And we visited Greenville. I didn't visit Durham, but through my reading and through my understanding, Durham has reinvented itself, and it took 15 to 20 years. Chattanooga did the same thing. 15 years ago, I wrote a paper for my friend Meg Locke, and I quoted Chattanooga: invest in a community that invests in itself. Right now in Hickory, there is a general, what I call malaise or attitude that we're just sort of here. And I realize that we have had a brutal recession. But folks, we've been a vibrant place to live, and we need to get back on track. We have a stellar group in Inspiring Spaces. They too have traveled, and many of the people on Inspiring Spaces have been active participants in our land use processes. And when I looked at the 28 objectives that the consultants had suggested, all those are in our land use processes, which we approved. We have paid consultants to come in and talk about entranceways, more tree cover, connectivity, greenways, vibrant business areas. They have given us over and over again a roadmap. And you know what? I'm tired of talking, and I have thought about this and thought about this. We're middle class, and I don't like tax increases, and I am a fiscal conservative, but I am opposed to this budget for that reason. We need 53 cents. It's my understanding Morganton just raised their taxes. All these places we have visited use combinations of property taxes, public-private partnerships, business improvement districts, which I have never seen to get anywhere with business improvement districts here. We met after our meeting in Raleigh with Susan Klutz, the former mayor of Salisbury. They started raising their taxes 5 or 6 years ago, a little at a time. They have a Salisbury tourism tax. They have business improvement districts. And yet, we just keep having conversations. So, I applaud the staff. I applaud you all for doing a hard job in a trying economy. But the time is right for this community to move forward, and that's why we were elected leaders. And I'm going to part company, I suppose, with most of my council members, because I believe that we need to invest in ourselves, because we can't expect Raleigh or Washington to write us a check.
I will agree with you that we need to move forward, but until we have that roadmap from our Inspiring Spaces, I don't think it's prudent for us to decide what amount we should do an increase, but I do agree that there will be an increase to fund what we want to see as a vision for the future of the city to help grow Hickory. And it will come, but it will be a plan rather than shotgun approach. And I think that we all, through our travels, have agreed that this is what it's going to take, and we have tasked the Inspiring Spaces to work with it, the consultants to work with it, and that we will get a roadmap of what is the best use of the dollars, and then get a dollar amount of what it's going to cost, and then move forward. And I think we are all, as a council, on board with moving forward with Inspiring Spaces and to regrow our community.
Well, I would suggest that 2 cents of that go to Inspiring Spaces, and we use that 2 cents to put that in a fund, because it will be just several months probably till they pick their priorities. And if you go back to our land use plans, we already have people who have told us what to do. This is it's the same old song and dance, because we have been through charrettes. We have listened historically in the last 2 land use processes to people in town who showed up. And I think Inspiring Spaces knows what they need to do. And I think that there is no problem with giving 2 cents of this budget money and the other 1 cent for roads. We are on a 60-year-old cycle with paving our roads, and this would get us, 1 penny of that would get us below the 45-year cycle. And when you drive into Hickory, folks, it's all about the presentation.
I think everything that Mrs. Fox has said is part of the plan, and I understand and to some degree agree with what she's saying about the length of time it's taken us to get there, and we're not there yet. But I also see the other side of it is that you have to be able to pay for what it is that you're wanting to do. And I think that is the issue that's where we're at right now. I think that it's inevitable that in the very near future that we're probably going to see a tax increase to be able to fund these types of things. But I agree with Ms. Patton that right now we don't have that plan in place to be able to know exactly what it is it's going to cost, and even more than that, to be able to communicate that this is the plan and this is why we're asking for an increase in taxes. I think that's the bridge that we don't have yet. We're almost there, but we're not quite there yet. And I think that we need to take the necessary time. I think that I'm the newest member on the council, and the one thing that I've learned from each and every one of you here is that you don't want to do things too hastily. And although I agree with Ms. Fox that this has been going on for quite some time and that there's been a lot of talk and there's been a lot of discussion, I think we're on the verge of being right there. And I think, like I said, I think it's inevitable, and I think that it's going to happen real quick.
Well, in respect to you, Mr. Guest, I would never say that we've done anything in haste.
I can think of one incident, but I won't go there.
We can all think of one or more, but I mentioned the desire for the 1% food tax, and I think I made this comment last week. We think this is going to be a combination of investment by us locally, investment of state funds, investment of federal funds, and investment of private funds. Didn't I say that? Did I use the 60 million or so? What number did I use? I think well, the problem is we don't know the number. And I don't want to go out. I suspect that some of us on this council are going to be asked to lead the charge. Let's try to make this happen. It needs to happen. We've all agreed it needs to happen. I don't want to start off apologizing for a tax increase that we put on people without an explanation of where it's going to go and why we need to do it right now until we say here's the total plan and here's what it's going to cost and here's how we're going to fund it. So I agree with Mrs. Fox's desire to see this happen, and I don't know that anybody on this council is any more committed than anyone else. I think all of us are committed, but we're just, as Mr. Guest said, we're close. Let's get there. Let's don't start out apologizing. Let's get the buy-in, and I think I said last week, I said, folks, you all help us. You all are here. You know what we're talking about. You know how thrifty we've been over the years. Help us get the buy-in for this, for the benefit of all of us, even the benefit of the naysayers. So I'm satisfied with the fact that people, if they've been listening, they know that we're going to ask for investments of the local people. And we're going to ask, as we did today, Mrs. Fox and I, in no uncertain terms, we're asking for investments by the state government. And as Mr. Lael and Mrs. Surratt and I asked in Washington, we're asking for investments from them. We didn't get in this alone. We got to get out of it, but I don't want us to have to feel like we've got to get out of it alone. So I'm satisfied with the direction, and I applaud the staff for bringing us a budget with no increase.
I agree with what's been said. One story that the mayor told me about, one of the leading citizens of Hickory, generation-wise, was he asked at the post office if they heard about Inspiring Spaces, and she said, I hadn't heard about it. So I think without a plan, without a blueprint in place, with priorities, that I think it's coming, but I just don't think at this time the timing is right to really ask for a 2 or 3 cent increase to put somewhere where we really don't have a specific of where it needs to go. It would be a hard sell to the citizens of Hickory.
And just sort of to piggyback on that, I think that we need, as a council, to have a discussion about how we're going to do it, because I would advocate that we put it to the voters, that we ask them for a bond. I think we can get better rates on financing better that way. We involve the community. There is buy-in with a successful a bond issue, and so to not give the voters an opportunity to sound off on it. And look, I'll help you lead the charge, Mr. Mayor and Mrs. Fox and everybody else, to try to get this done. But I think that that's a discussion yet to be had. Is this appropriate for issuance of bonds? So
well, I just want to go back. I'm going to be a little hard-nosed tonight because I've been here and I have too much knowledge. all of our land use plans that we paid for have talked about tree-lined streets. They've talked about medians. They've talked about connectivity. They've talked about greenway. And we keep talking about a plan. Folks, we have plans sitting on the shelves that we have never funded. And if we had funded some of those, we might not even be sitting here having this discussion.
You know, I've had two leading citizens. If I mentioned the names, everyone here would know these names, who have said the thrust of this does not need to be tree-lined streets and entranceways and all of that. And I have disagreed. I have said, no, it's all tied together. We need to make this a place that everyone brags on who lives here. They tell other people how wonderful the place they live in is. They're proud of it, and not see us as an aging infrastructure here. But we've got to put together a plan, if we're going to sell this, that includes demolition of old buildings and includes preparation of sites and buildings for people who want to bring in jobs, because I am told by these leading citizens either that they never heard of this, okay, or this thrust has to be shovel-ready job opportunities.
Well, maybe they haven't heard of Inspiring Spaces, but I was an active participant in all of the land use processes, and we had standing room only with citizens who talked about greenways and connectivity and more sidewalks and walkability. Folks, we've got plans. We are just not willing to spend the money, or we wouldn't be having this discussion. And let me tell you, tree-lined streets, improved entranceways, more sidewalks, walkability, they are economic engines. That is what makes companies want to come to Hickory.
Well, I will disagree. I think we are ready to spend the money. It's just we want to spend it with a plan rather than just say we're going to set aside dollars. We would like to see the Inspiring Spaces put together, what their priorities are. We buy in and we get the public buy-in for it, and we're all ready to spend the money.
Public buy-in is critical.
It is critical.
If we start off in this and we're backing up because of a tax increase that people were not expecting, they had no warning on, then we're going to spend a whole lot of time explaining and not much time charging for it.
Well, I think that one of the economic lady in Greenville said that elected folks have to be willing to take a chance. So I'm going to take a chance.
I feel like all of us are taking a chance. This is a very tax-averse community. We've all laid ourselves bare out there that we are pushing to ask for investments. This is not a community that's looking forward to paying more taxes. So I guess I would say I think we are taking a chance. Have we taken the vote? We've not taken the vote, have we? Any further discussion?
Well, I was just going to reiterate that every penny on the property tax would add $10 a year if you had a $100,000 property. Let everybody know exactly what that means. And some people have trouble figuring that up, and sometimes it gives me trouble, but $10 for every penny on the tax rate.
Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, no.
No.
Mrs. Fox voted no. There were 6 ayes. Any appointments?
I would like to nominate Catherine Skillman Newton to the Community Relations Council.
Okay. If it says they're eligible, Mrs. Miller, does that mean that they have asked to be reappointed or would like to be reappointed? Well, then I would suggest that we include in that nomination the 3 members of the Business Development Committee, who together with Inspiring Spaces and the strategic planning have helped us get to where we are today. And they've done a great job, I think.
What was your question about eligibility?
If it says they're eligible, it means they're also willing to serve.
Oh, they have been contacted? Oh, okay. I didn't.
Yeah, the liaison lets them know if they can serve another term, and then they confirm whether or not they're willing to continue to serve.
I would like to renominate Barbara Clemens for Planning Commission, and Rachel Riddle for Public Art, and Charlie Hayes for Recycling.
I would like to renominate Candace Brown for the Community Appearance Commission and Juanita Dula for the Library Advisory Board.
I'm nominated for another term Darrell Rogers for Community Relations Council and David Moser for the Community Appearance Commission.
I'd like to nominate and reappoint Bill McBrayer for Planning Commission and Charles Jeffers for the Library Advisory Board. I'd also like to let council know that I have resigned as the council appointee to the Salt Block Foundation, and I would like to offer in nomination Mandy Pitts as the City of Hickory appointee.
Okay, I'll nominate Mark Huggins for At-Large Citizens Advisory Committee and Ola Mae Williams for Small Cities Project Area. Janet Painter to the Community Appearance Commission. Sarah Huffman, Larry Triplett, and Steve Walker to the Historic Preservation Commission. Dr. Michael Wimberly to the Public Housing Authority. Vernon Tarleton to TDA. Now this is the TDA and the Convention Center, right?
Just the TDA.
Just the TDA.
Yeah, which governs the Convention Center. Yeah, the CVB is not appointed by City Council. And
unless another council member has a burning desire, I would nominate myself for the other position. Phil Yard is not eligible. And I guess we're waiting on you. Excuse me?
I need to nominate Debbie Rush for community appearance.
Mr. Mayor, did you want to look at International Council, Carl Wolf?
Did I overlook? Oh, yeah, I'd circle that one. I'd like to nominate Carl Wolf for the International Council. Have we overlooked any that are eligible tonight? Do we have a motion?
Well, I think I overlooked Joyce Beard for the Parks and Rec. She's also eligible.
My goodness, the ones I circled, I just ignored after that. Okay. I did say Vernon Tarleton, did I?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do we have a motion to accept the nominations?
I move approval of the nominations for boards and commissions.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Seaver, second by Mrs. Patton. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. That motion is carried. Any matters not on the agenda? General comments? Mr. Guest, I was going to ask you about Charity Chase.
I have two. The 8th annual Charity Chase was held this past Saturday. I have to give a lot of credit to Mandy. Mandy's here tonight. Mandy, obviously, she always helps with that, and she was there again and taking charge and leading that. So I appreciate Mandy, of course, doing that. But we actually have a first-time half marathon person that finished the race. Sarah Principal, who is the city manager's right-hand person up there on the 3rd floor, ran her first half marathon, and I thought that was really good. We also had a 68-year-old woman that finished the half marathon in less than 3 hours. So it was a great. They had about I think about 500 participants in the and it was. I heard a lot of good, positive comments about Hickory, and people appreciated it. The other thing is, I had the pleasure of filling in for the mayor the other day at a ribbon cutting at the Growing Smiles, which is a pediatric dentistry here in Hickory on Tate Boulevard. And I met Dr. Ross Penland and his wife Holly. They have 3 children. They're both graduates of Lenore College. And much like Mr. Moon had done, they were bragging on Hickory. They were saying that there was no doubt in their minds after they graduated from college at Lenore, spent time at Lenore College, they decided that Hickory was the place for them. And not only were they going to raise their family here, but they're going to start their business here. And they're excited. And they've got a brand new facility right over on Tate Boulevard. So that was encouraging to hear that also.
And I would just like to invite everyone Saturday to the 10th birthday party for the Farmers Market. We're going to have lots of festivities, lots of raffles, and a great deal of planning has gone into this good celebration.
And they have expanded to also Mondays, and there will be entertainment under the sales floor. Rotarian Idol contestants will be there each week for the next 6 weeks. 4
Mondays in June.
Mondays in June, yes.
One thing about Hickory people, you open up a stage and they'll come.
And they'll be
right?
there.
Well, how about Swinging Under the Stars, Mr.
It was great.
I wasn't there as long, but I was there.
I was there.
Yeah,
it was one. There must have been 400 people. It was amazing. Yeah.
There was an elderly gentleman up there dancing.
And Friday night.
Be careful. I saw the pictures. He didn't look that old to me.
He looked great.
Did I walk into that one?
You did.
Yeah, you did. As I mentioned, we are out and about, meeting with legislators. We're telling our story, the same story we're telling you tonight. The same thing about our need to make investments. We're telling that same story in Raleigh and Washington. Mr. Moon will attest that we were in Raleigh today. He was there meeting with representatives as well. So I think this community is going to be very surprised at the things we're going to be able to get done through ourselves, the private sector, state and federal. And it's going to be a 10-year horizon, probably not a 6-month horizon, but we're going to make some great things happen. Any other comments? Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by everybody, second by everybody. All in favor, please say aye. All opposed, no. That motion's carried.
I've never heard anybody vote no for that.
Never.